you don't want to maintain responsibility for your clients. They must have responsibility for themselves. You can show up in your fullest capacity and give them all of your tools, your resources, your support, but ultimately you cannot be responsible for their outcome. In a coaching situation, they have to be responsible and they have to be accountable for that, right? So quite right, very right. And I'm really pleased you brought that up here, because that also maintains some distance and it enables you to healthily have a really good relationship with your clients, but one that has graceful boundaries to it. And that teaches them also to create graceful boundaries for themselves, because you are demonstrating that. So that's a really good point to start off with. The other thing is that what we want to do, and actually this is why we're going through the process of the sprint this week. So if you can join us at 7 p.m. tonight, it'd be good for you to join us and go on the next step of the journey. We're on step 2 today. And that is to create something that is big enough. So we were talking about niching the other day. So you create a niche that's big enough and as such holds the vision, holds the space as the dream creator or whatever it is that you want to build your brand in, but that's like the home of it all. And then you niche by choosing one product or program that you're going to really build your brand around, right? And that's going to be like a bigger program or a bigger system. This is why we work in the Love Escalator. I always start with the core program first. It's kind of, you don't have to make it, but just hold the vision for what that is up there, like the big kahuna, right? Hold the vision for what that is so that you can take a little pinch of magic from that, and that becomes a smaller, a more affordable version of it, one step of it maybe. And then you take a little pinch of magic from that one, and that becomes your entry. So you have a golden thread that runs all the way through the entire process. And that way you haven't got lots of different products and programs and loads of different things that can become quite a mess. And then it doesn't make sense to people what they are. So you've held the vision for that. But what we need to do is now come back to today, the here and now, and say, what one thing can I create that I don't need to learn anything else? I already have life mastery or business mastery or whatever the mastery is. Like, for example, I saw you commented something about someone had said they want you to help them buy a horse. You've got mastery in that. That's a skill. They are skills that you have learned, and there is criteria that you are specifically going to look for that might even be so intuitive that you can't sell that part of it, but you can do other things, right? So there's stuff that you can do, and then you get paid at the highest amount because intuitively that's the bit that you can't replicate of yourself. Right.
Yeah. The who you are part is hard.
Yeah. So everything else that can be replicated, they're the bits that we want to take. And that way you can work with people at the highest level and high ticket, as you said there in your own language, but also be able to serve lots of other people who don't have that skill and that are maybe getting started with that. Now, it sounds to me like that's the good high ticket thing that you can do and support somebody to buy the horse that they want. That's great. And it's stuff that you can fit around the other things you're doing. But there's also this part of you that has a desire to create something and birth something that's actually out there, that's making a difference to millions of people, not just one at a time. Yes. And that's the thing we've got to get clear.
That's the thing I've got to get clear. And that's the part where I keep freaking out, because I was talking about Bob Proctor and Tony Robbins, like what they do. That's what I know. I mean, I can do lots that I've learned. I've got processes and tips and tools from them, but it's not mine. It's from them. I mean, and I didn't have that my whole life, because you have these people like, oh no, what have you been doing your whole life that's added to the skill? And I mean, I've survived and I've lived my dreams and I reinvented myself. And the word reinvention comes up for me quite a bit. But it's not, but I didn't have a skill that made that happen. I was just me. So
but you will have mastered skills, and even though you've mastered those skills from someone else, there'll be something you do that puts a unique spin on it. I mean, let's face it, nothing is new, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is new. It's all, you know, mixes of bits and things, you know. And you know, as an example, when I was taking you all through the last Ripple Fest, I pointed you all to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I didn't say that was my hierarchy of needs. I showed you Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that was a tool that is publicly available. That's a tool that I guided you all to because it's very helpful for you to have that part of the system as such. But it's not my system, and I don't claim that it's my system. I'm pointing people to tools that other people have created because they're good tools. Go use them. Right? So you don't have to create everything yourself, and you don't have to reinvent it and say this is mine. I know a lot of people that have done that. But you can guide people to other things, and you, literally, if you think about the amount of, I mean, you can get anything you need to know off the internet, right? You could spend a week and get everything you need to know off the internet, be completely confused, totally paralyzed by information, and not do anything, right? Because you're just like suspended in crap. Or we can say, Lisa, out of that week that you spent investigating all that stuff, what were the 5 tools you found that you can point us to right now? So we don't spend a week going and finding it. And actually, in a couple of hours, you've guided us to exactly what we need. So
oh my God.
Pay for that journey.
Yeah. So my skill, and I'm actually really good at this because I'm like very analytical. I'm very good at research and guiding, and like you tell me to go research something or even like snoop on somebody, I will get so much stuff on them. So I'm really good at that. So when a person, be careful. So when a person comes up in front of me and they're like, I'm here and I want to go there, I think that I have a skill where I can like help them with, like, they can't help themselves, and I can even like do the research, and they can, well, let's work this out. That's part of my blueprint idea, but it's not traditionally what people do in a program, because a program normally is like you teach them to do Facebook marketing, for example. That's the skill. They end up with Facebook marketing. Whereas I'm saying, I want you to end up with the knowledge I want to have like an ability to constantly evolve their life and have the tips and tools to evolve their life, to live their dreams.
So what you can do is you can think back to someone you've done that with, or get a real life person and say, I want to practice on someone who wants to come play with me. And whatever they say to you, whatever research you would go and do, make a note of it. Because like I teach people how to go and do their own keyword research. I do not want to be doing people's keyword research anymore. It used to take me days to do all that stuff. Now I teach other people, here's the 3 tools you need to do all the keyword research you will ever need to know. Here you go. Here's the tools. Here's the link. Go and get those tools. Off you go. I'll see you in the next step. So you can just guide people, but all you need to do, and we're working on intuition, right? So all you need to do is intuitively take that step for them and think, what research would they need to have done? So word this in past tense with your brain, so that your brain can go through the steps. So we want to talk to yourself in past tense here. So what research would I have to have done, or would they have to have done for them to arrive at this step ready to go through the next piece? And as you take them through it, they'll, as people go live through it, they will say to you, I didn't find this thing. And you might say, oh, well, have you tried looking at this? So what you then do is you create a video that goes in, like 1A, that says, hey, I just wanted to hop in here because before you go into this next step, there's some people have asked me this question, and I think it's such a good question. I want to answer it for you just in case you come up against it. So even if you've created all your program, what you can do is just create an extra little piece of content which goes in, and it just gets added to the automated sequence, so that next time anybody else going through that program, they never ever have to go through that, because you're working it out. So you can create, you can amend, you can add, you can take things away as you go through it. So just get started would be.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Yeah.